Hanabiya covering Ado with the song Odo. How did I not know this existed? I mean, seriously, I've been covering Hanabiya for quite a long time now, and obviously I've been like following Ado as well because, how can you be in Japan like I am and not be following Ado on some level? Where is the... Yeah, I need something for my coffee because this is going to be a full-on caffeine listen here. So anyway... This is Hanabiya covering Odo, like I say about Ado, but moreover, the reason why this surprises me is this came out, 4 years ago? So this is this is the old lineup of Hanabiya, and the song that they're covering, I'll quickly show the thumbnail while I discuss this. It's a favourite of mine. It's a song I always really liked by Ado. It's not necessarily the one which is most associated with her typical style of big vocals, although she does have some great vocal performance in the song. It's more that for me it's provided a really interesting contrast. See, she burst onto the scene with songs like Uchiwa, and then we had Odo, which we're going to play a little bit of it so you can hear the original before we listen to the cover. But this song kind of went into more of like a hip-hop direction, a little bit more rap focused, but at the same time still being distinctly that kind of Ado, big dramatic style of delivery that we got used to from her. So Hanabiya doing the cover is interesting for me. And the reason why it's particularly interesting that they did this cover, admittedly, like I say, earlier in their career, they've been great ever since that first mini album, Cherry Blossoms Are Blooming, but they have definitely come a long way and, kind of perfected the crafting of their art form since they first came out. But the reason why it's interesting for me is because ever since I first heard Hanabiya with We Love Sweets, and then subsequently all the things I've heard of the music they released before, and obviously since, it's been very clear that they are amazing at mixing genres. And Yukina can do a little bit of rap in her vocals. She's been able to do that. I mean, Odo's not a full-on rap song, but it's got that little feel. I get the feeling she can do the funky bits. When it comes to the big vocals, they're going to have a little bit more, maybe metal-style vocal. I mean, this is called a metal version after all. Basically, going into this, I'm just going to be really excited to see however they approach this song, whatever they do with it. But in a way, I kind of hope it's a cover where we get to hear a little bit of the creativity that is so quintessentially a Hanabiya quality. I hope that they Ado's famous for her big vocals, and I hope that Hanabiya bring their quality of not just being metal, but being creative to their cover. Now, I mention this because, of course, there's been things like, I remember when Nemophila came out. If you've been following this channel for a while, you already know I said this. When Nemophila came out, I really like Nemophila now, but when they first came out and they sort of dropped all those covers during COVID, I remember thinking all their covers just sounded like straight rock. Because I want to hear you put your own identity on something. That's what makes a cover interesting. So that's what we're going to see happens. But first of all, let's have a little listen. We're not going to listen to the whole thing because I'm assuming most of us have heard it. I mean, let's face it, I wouldn't be surprised. This song has got 226 million views. I can't believe I haven't pressed like. Go on. It'd be really cool if that went to 2 million, but no. So anyway. Let's have a little bit of the original. We'll probably listen through to the first chorus and then we'll jump in and listen to the Hanabiya cover. But anyway, this is the original Odo by Ado. Just give you a little bit of a feel for what this song sounds like. Refresh your memory. I can't remember who produced this, but straight out of the belt, you can hear like that. It's like hip-hop, dance, pop production going on. Slightly low-key menacing feeling to it that I can imagine would transfer well to metal. This switch up in the rhythm as well really adds a lot. And one more time. And then the chorus. So, yeah, a lot of what makes the verses really work in this is that kind of increasing in the rhythm, the way it sort of picks up and picks up and picks up. And I'm really excited to see how Hanabiya do that. I'm assuming that this is a metal cover. I'm assuming that menacing chorus is going to get a fair old blast. But anyway, there you go. That's what we got to deal with. That's what we're going to be covering. I'm excited. How long is their version? Their version's 3.5 minutes. Okay, so we're not going to half-ass it. We're going all the way in. Let's get the volume up to the max. Let's get my earphones set up so they don't blow off my ears the minute I press play. And let's go. Let's see. I really can't believe I've not heard this before. Let's see what Hanabiya did with Odo. Hey, if it's just straight, I'll be fine with that. But I want a little bit of that Hanabiya creativity because I love the original. I love this band. Let's go. Let's go. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, building up the tension. Cool, cool. I'm loving the dual vocal on the chorus. Oh, I love the use of Matsuri's vocals on this as well. Oh, that's a nice little use of it. Oh, okay. Those little riffs to end the chord run, chord progressions are really cool. Oh, okay. They're letting the backing track build it up. Oh yeah, I forgot about this bit, of course. Yeah, okay, this is where they just go full in on the metal. I'm loving those little tones they're using for the guitar. The guitar work's got like a very different approach, but it is being creative as well. Nice. Yeah, they're dealing with the build-up really well. Of course. Yeah, I've got to be honest, Matsuri's voice suits this really well. This just, yeah, it's got its own life, definitely. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, okay, that's cool. All right, so I don't know how. Again, with these covers, you never know how much time I spent thinking about it and how much I just sort of threw it together for a bit of fun. But this took a really interesting approach that I maybe wasn't so much expecting. So a lot of the Hanabiya songs usually, like, Yukina takes the vast majority of the vocal, well, the most of the vocals, let's put it that way. And then the background, usually there's a lot of things like all kinds of weird sounds coming in and changes between heavier bits and lighter bits. You know, you think about songs like Gambler, you know, We Love Sweets, you know, all these kind of songs. They have like really very fast flowing changing backdrops. This one was very interesting because it still felt like a Hanabiya song, but it took quite a nice different approach, which actually to me demonstrated that they thought about how they were going to approach this, because this was much more a Matsuri song. So Yukina's vocals were much more backup, and it's especially interesting because in those verse bits where it goes a little bit rappy, I thought that we were going to get more Yukina front and center, because she's always been the one who's most been most prevalent in Hanabi's like rap-esque vocals. You know, every time they get a little bit close to that, it tends to be primarily Yukina who does that. So hearing Matsuri deal with that here was brilliant, but moreover than anything else, I mean, Matsuri's vocals have improved massively. She's always had a nice voice, but like now her voice, like over time, she's really worked on it, and she's gone from being like a good solid rock singer to now being like a really impressive singer. Like I mean, okay, I'm not gonna say she's like gonna win some awards or anything, but I would say that she's a sort of singer who she's got a unique, interesting voice, and she uses it well. So this is like going back a few years, and yeah, here her voice sounds great in this. So I feel like this song, I feel like they must have known going into this. I don't even know if this is the reason why they picked it. Maybe Matsuri regularly sang this in karaoke or something, but her voice just like suits this so well. And again, very different vocal style from Ado, obviously, but her voice just felt really at home on top of this. And then the backdrop, rather than being overly crazy, this was a fairly, I don't want to say, because I said at the beginning that I didn't want this to just be just, oh, let's play it as metal. So when I say that it was primarily a metal backing, I'm kind of, I'm somewhere in between in that, yes, I think that modern, like Hanabiya in 2025 would have probably done more crazy things with this, and maybe with more time spent in this, they might have done more crazy things on this. But what was interesting is that the guitar bits that we did get, even there, they weren't just playing just like, oh, that's the chords, I've read them off of like a tab website. It's like they were actually like, no, thinking about it. I mean, I mentioned in that first verse, they would like play through these sort of rising chord patterns and then add like a little bit of a like a walking kind of, I don't really sure, it's like a cadence, not really a cadence, but a cadence to the end of like the each chord pattern, where it was sort of one chord, another chord, and then da 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 da, da, something like that, just walking down. And it was interesting because they were adding these little bits that were clearly little expressive bits that they'd thought up and added to the guitar lines, and it was really cool hearing that sort of bouncing between what Matsuri and Hetsu were doing, and you were getting this really nice little these nice little playful bits they'd written into the song. So although the backing was primarily guitar focused and, you know, sounded more like a traditional metal backing, a la maybe their first album, their first mini album, it definitely felt like it wasn't just, oh, let's just play it metal. It was like, no, they really wrote little bits into the song to make it their own. I also thought it was interesting that where a lot of the time Hanabiya's, one of their strengths is they'll use like pre-programmed bits, and Matsuri puts on these really cool little bits of EDM and like pop programming into their songs that give their songs these sort of quirky, bizarre bits. Here they just seem to like use some of the original like backing track from like Ado's Odo, the original Odo, and pick little bits out of that and put them into there. So occasionally like the metal would drop out and then you get like little flashes of the original backing come in. And it was nice because, again, in a weird way, your brain is sort of thinking, oh, we've gone back to the original. But if you just kind of think about this song in this version, its own isolation, it works in a very similar way to how a normal, like conventional, original Hanabiya song works, in that you do get these little breaks where you can hear strange little sounds come in that give the song their extra life and creativity. So it's weird because in one way you can think of this as a cover of Odo. Another way you can think, well, how would it stand up if I hadn't heard the original and this just came out as a Hanabiya song? And it would be a little bit different from their normal fare, but I feel like they really owned it and made it their own in this cover. I really feel like they, even if this wasn't the most wild and bizarre thing you can imagine Hanabiya doing in a cover, it definitely felt like they understood who they are as musicians and how they could approach this song, and did it in a way that definitely felt like they were playing to their own strengths. So I thought this was really cool. I really liked it. I think that as covers go, it's one of those covers, there's very few covers that improve upon an original. That's a very hard thing to do, and of course it's completely subjective anyway. But I think the best thing you want to look for in a cover is a cover that makes you go, occasionally I'm going to listen to the cover instead of the original, because it just adds something. It adds a different take, which still allows you to enjoy it in the same way that you like the original, but gives you that alternative. In the same way that, you know, you'll listen to like your favorite album by your favorite band and you'll be really, really cool. And then occasionally you'll want to listen to the live version, because the live version will just be like hearing it in a different light, hearing it in a different take. And that's what I think that's what you should aim for with a good quality cover, is giving someone something they can listen to and go, do you know what? I love Odo, but still I want to hear Hanabiya do it. Because I want Odo just to be that little bit harder today. I want to listen to Odo, but but I want to listen to a version that captures its spirit with a little bit of that Hanabiya energy. Sounds so obvious, but that's kind of what a lot of covers are missing. Like I say, that's what I know this is a contentious topic, and I am a much bigger fan of Neverfeeler these days, or certainly since Seize the Fate. But that was what I always felt was missing with the Neverfeeler covers. Is it was like these just sound like straight rock covers. It's like, I couldn't really feel like, where's your identity in this? And then of course that got overturned when they did that Christmas cover song at the end of last year. Dude, that was incredible. Anyway, we're talking about Neverfeeler now. Let's get back. We already got Hanabiya and Ado to talk about. Yeah, great stuff. Be really interested to know what you guys thought. Obviously, I'm assuming most of you guys have probably heard this 4 years ago. You're like, Howard, catch up. Apologies if you did tell me this existed at some point, because, you know, I cover so many songs, not just on the channel, but just in my own personal life as well, dealing with music, that sometimes people tell me stuff and I go, that's a really cool thing, and then it just disappears out my brain. I honestly can't remember anyone ever mentioning this to me before. And if they did, it was maybe like really early on when I first heard Hanabiya and I hadn't quite gathered how much I was going to enjoy them. But dude, this just came up in my feed, probably because I recently did that video where I was talking about the Babe Metal Hololive covers. Great stuff. Anyway, there you go. Those are my thoughts. As always, get in the comments. Tell me what you think or thought. And until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next release. For now, ciao, ciao.